Hey awesome viewers, hope you're all having a fantastic day. This is the Soundcore Motion Plus from a company called Anker, and I think it's the Bluetooth speaker that most of you should be buying. I'll explain why in just a minute, but before I do that, who the hell are Anker or Soundcore? It's hard to trust a brand that you've never heard of before, so here's the short story. If you shop on Amazon and buy things like power banks, wall chargers and other electronic accessories, you may have come across Anker. They've built themselves a very good reputation for delivering functional, well-designed products at reasonable prices. I myself own several of their products, from this EU travel adapter to the USB hub that sits on my desk to various other cables and small bits. And so far, none of their products have ever let me down. And they seem to be doing quite well. They now have Soundcore, which is their audio brand. They have Eufy for smart home appliances, Nebula for what seems to be smart portable devices like this projector, and Roav, which is aimed towards smart vehicle accessories. Now, I can't speak about their other stuff since I haven't tried it. Anker, if you're listening, feel free to send me stuff, I will review them. But I can speak about this, which is the Soundcore Motion Plus. This is a powerful Bluetooth speaker that packs a punch and has some nice features to go along with it at a surprisingly low price. So let's get into it. First, the design. It's not a work of art, nor was it meant to be one. It's functional, easy to use, and quite rugged. The speaker has IPX7 waterproofing, which means it can be immersed in up to under 1 meter of water, and it can be there for up to 30 minutes. Have I tested the waterproofing on the speaker? No. Does it make me more comfortable using it in the shower? Yes. Because of the waterproofing, if you want to access the USB-C charging port or the 3.5mm microphone jack, you have to pull out this quite heavy-duty feeling rubber flap. It's a small inconvenience, but trust me, it's a price worth paying. And the flap itself is designed rather nicely and it's quite easy to remove. But that's enough talking about flaps. The buttons are located on the top and quite nicely laid out. In order from left to right, you first have the bass boost button, you have volume down, you have the multifunction button, which you can double press to skip ahead to the next track, or triple press to go backwards, you have volume up, and finally you have the Bluetooth pairing button. Aside from the front, the whole body is covered in this nice grippy silicone material, which helps it to stay in place wherever you put it. See? Stupid. On the front you have the grille, a logo, and behind it the drivers. Speaking of those drivers, you get 2 dedicated tweeters, 2 woofers, and a passive radiator in the middle, and in combination that helps this thing deliver a genuinely impressive sound that we'll get to later on. In total, the speaker delivers 30 watts of power, which is plenty to deliver big sound in a small package. Okay, so let's talk about how this thing performs. To put it simply, it's really great. Now, the speaker out of the box doesn't sound the best, but luckily it's an easy fix. Soundcore have an app that you can download on both iOS and Android, and it lets you set a custom EQ on the speaker. Here is the setting that I like to use. A quick search online will give you some other settings that people enjoy. The app also lets you update the speaker's firmware and change the auto power off timer along with basic music controls. Back to sound. This speaker gets loud. It's not the loudest I've ever heard, but I would say it gets loud enough for up to 95% of all use cases. And it manages to sound clean and distortion-free up until the very highest of volume settings. That will also depend on what kind of track you're playing, so I can't give you a universal don't go above X percentage. What I'm most impressed by though is how good this thing sounds at lower volume levels. This is where I use the speaker the most, to have some nice background music where you can still comfortably have a conversation. I'm especially impressed by the lows. The bass is crisp and punchy, and I think if you let somebody hear this without seeing it, they would imagine this to be a bigger device than it actually is. The tweeters also do a good job of bringing out the higher frequencies. I would say if anything is lacking, maybe some of the mids can get lost sometimes, but not to the extent that I would complain about it. Another cool feature is that you can actually link up 2 of these devices and turn them into a stereo pair. Unfortunately, the range between the speakers isn't very good. I would say between 1, maybe 1.5 meters would be the maximum, otherwise you start getting dropouts. Having two of these linked up together is a game changer. My friend also has one and he's been generous enough to lend me his one for this review. So John, if you're watching this, cheers buddy. The soundstage that these two small speakers can create is nothing short of awesome. And I would actually say if you do go ahead and buy one of these, try to recommend a friend or a family member to also buy one. And thank me later. I'm now going to show you a short clip of two of these speakers hooked up playing a few tracks.
Duck, duck, go, found a pussy in a dollar bin. Guess you forgot your galana bin. You can't get loose, get the guts, got your tongue again. Rope burn on your hands, are you numb yet? I can go, I can get dedication. Learning now, I can deal with it. Every night, I can make it echo. And that's what you
When pairing just one speaker, the process is really nice and simple, but when linking up two speakers together, I find that the experience is a bit hit and miss. What you do is first connect to your main speaker, which is apparently the left channel, then you turn on the other speaker, and at the same time, you want to press the Bluetooth pairing button on both devices until you hear this sound. Now you just wait a few seconds and audio should start playing from both. Here's a few more noteworthy things about the speaker before I wrap this up. The battery life is more than good enough. I would expect that you can get between 8 to 10 hours of listening time depending on the volume level. The speaker is pretty robust as well. I'm ashamed to say that I have dropped it onto concrete, don't ask me why or how, but suffice to say, aside from some small scuff marks on the bottom and a tiny dent on this side, it still works just like new. But here's what might be the best thing about this overall, the price. This thing sells on Amazon right now for $99. It also sells for £99 and 99 euros, but on the European Amazon websites you get a 25% off discount voucher, which brings the price down to be even a bit less than you pay for it in the US. If that doesn't sound like a good deal to you, it is. This speaker costs half of some of the other products that it's competing with, like the Bose SoundLink Mini 2, or up to 30% less than some other products like the UE Boom 3. And if you look around online, you will find that many, if not most people, say the Soundcore sounds better. So it wouldn't even be crazy to go ahead and buy two of these things and link them up into a stereo pair. After all, you would still only be paying as much as you would for one of some of the competitors. To wrap this up, the Soundcore Motion Plus is an epic win when it comes to bang for your buck. And because of that, I give this the newly created and highly prestigious Quick Tech News seal of approval. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and I'll see you guys next time.
Stood by your side through all of the light.